Dear learners, I am Dr. Arvind Kumar Yadav, HOD in Faculty of Commerce in Government PG College, Badalpur. Today's topic is communication services. All of us know that man is a social animal. He cannot survive in isolation. As a member of the society, he is dependent on others. For most of the things, he has to take help from others. But the question is, how does one know what the other wants? One has to convey his feelings, thoughts, ideas, requirements, experiences, etc. to another in such a way that the latter understands those correctly. The same thing happens with business also. It provides information to the customers, government, owners and employees etc. and at the same time receives information from them. In this lesson, let us know how people convey their feelings, thought, ideas, messages etc. So, dear learners, let us start from meaning of communication. Every day, you talk to the members of your family, friends and relatives on various matters. You receive letters from your friends and relatives on different occasions. You also reply to their letters. Sometimes, to convey urgent messages, you send telegrams or make telephone calls. In this process, you are able to share the informations with others. Similarly, they also share their experiences with you. You must have observed that in an office, the officer rings a bell to call the attendant. People stop their vehicles at road crossings after looking the red light on the traffic signals and then start moving after seeing the green lights. In a school, students assemble for prayer after hearing the school bell. Through these means, some message is conveyed and understood even without speaking or writing. All these activities of sharing or exchanging information, ideas and experiences between two or more persons are known as communication. Communication may be defined as a process of sharing facts, ideas, opinions, thoughts and information through speech, writing, gestures and symbols between two or more persons. This process of communication always contains message which are to be transmitted between the parties. There are two parties to communication. One is sender who sends the messages and the other is receiver who receives it. Generally, the process of communication is said to be complete when the receiver understands the message and gives the feedback or response. At road crossing, red light of the traffic signal sends the message to stop the vehicle. When people stop their vehicles by seeing red light, it is the feedback or response. This feedback may be in any form. Even while talking to your friends, nodding of the head is treated as feedback. Thus, feedback becomes an essential element in the process of communication along with message, sender and receiver. Hence, communication process includes the following elements. First is sender, the person who sends the message, also known as the source. Receiver, the person who receives the message. Message, subject matter of communication. It may contain facts, ideas, feelings or thoughts. Feedback, receiver's response or reaction or reply to the message which is directed towards the sender. For sending the message to the receiver or getting the feedback from the receiver, we need a medium which is called as a medium or means of communication. It carries the message to the receiver and brings the feedback from the receiver. So, dear learners, after meaning of communication, we move to the types of communication. When we talk to others or write to them, communication takes place between us. But for such a communication, language is communication with the help of words known as oral or verbal communication is made through words spoken. Communication through spoken words is known as oral communication, which may be in the form of lectures, meetings, group discussions, conferences, telephonic conversations, radio message, etc. In written communication, message is transmitted through written words in the form of letters, memos, circulars, notices, reports, manuals, magazines, handbooks, etc. Written communication may be visual, oral or gestural. Sometimes you look into some pictures, graphs, symbols, diagrams, etc. and some forms of written visual communication. For example, the traffic policeman showing the stop sign, a teacher showing a chart of different animals are visual communication. Bells, whistles, buzzers, horns, etc. are also the instruments through which we can communicate our message. Communication with the help of these types of sounds is called oral communication. For example, the bell used in school and colleges to inform students and teachers about the beginning or end of periods. Siren used in factories to inform the change of work shift of the workers are examples of oral communication. Communication through the use of various parts of human body or through body language is termed as gestural communication. Saluting our national flag, motionless position during the signing of national anthem, waving of hands, nodding heads, showing anger on face, etc. are the examples of gestural communication. Dear learners, now let us move on means of communication. There are various ways through which we communicate with each other. These may be called as the means of communication. In face-to-face contact, we use different parts of our body or we directly talk to others while communicating our messages. Where face-to-face communication is not possible, we take the help of some other means through which we usually convey our messages. For example, we may use letters to convey written messages, talk to others over telephones, send telegrams and use various other modern machines like computers, fax machine, etc. to communicate our messages. The means to use in our communication process depend upon the purpose of communication. For example, to send any urgent message, we generally use telephone. For any other important matter for which a written document is required, we use letter, telegram, fax, etc. Nowadays, modern technology has given us a wide option to choose the means according to our requirement and liking. Let us discuss some of the important means of communication commonly used in business. First is letters. Letters are a written form of communication. These can be sent or received by individuals or organizations. This method is mostly used when face-to-face communication is difficult or other means are not easily available. It helps in keeping a record of communication. The cost involved is low in this means of communication. Second one is telegram. It is also a form of written communication by which messages can be sent quickly to distant places. It is generally used when there is an urgency of communicating any important message. It transmits message much faster than ordinary postal mail. This facility is available in all telegraph offices, where on payment of a specific charge, we send our message. Charges are payable on the basis of number of words used in writing the message, including the address of the receiver and sender's name. Hence, telegraphic messages are written in brief. Telegrams can be sent as ordinary or express. Express telegrams travel faster than ordinary telegram, for which extra charge is to be paid. To send telegrams to foreign countries, cablegrams are used. Telegrams can also be sent by using telephone, which is called as phonogram. Here, by ringing up the telegraph office through a telephone, the message can be recorded and later the telegraph office transmits the message to the receiver. Next is telephones. Telephone is a very popular form of oral communication. It is widely used for internal and external business communication. Long distance communication is facilitated by STD, subscriber trunk dialing, while international communication can be made through ISD, international subscriber dialing facilities. Both government and private agencies provide telecom services. Telephone is mostly preferred as it helps in establishing instant contact between the parties to communication. In business firms as well as government and private offices, automatic switchboards known as Private Automatic Branch Exchange (PABX) are installed to facilitate internal as well as external communication. Nowadays, mobile phones are very popular as they give an access to the receiver at any time, anywhere. This is an important over the fixed line telephone. It possesses many modern facilities like short message services SMS, multimedia message services MMS, etc. By using these services, written messages can be sent to the receivers. Both private as well as government organizations provide these services. MTNL, BSNL, Airtel, Idea, Hutch, Reliance and Tata are the leading mobile service providers in our country through CDMA, Code Division Multiple Access, and GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication. Next is telex. Telex provides a means of printed communication using teleprinter. Teleprinter consists of machine installed at different places which are connected to a central exchange through cable. Any message typed by using those keyboards at one end is automatically typed at the other end. Hence, instant transmission is possible. Next is fax. Fax or facsimile is an electronic device that enables instant transmission of any matter which may be handwritten or printed like letters, diagrams, graphs, sketches, etc. By using telephone lines, these machines sends the exact copy of the document to another fax machine at the receiving end. For sending any message, the documents on which message, diagrams or drawing is typed or drawn has to be put in the fax machine, and the fax number, a telephone number of the other party has to be dialed. Then the fax machine at the receiving end will instantly produce the replica of the matter. This is the most commonly used means of written communication in business. Email. Electronic mail, popularly known as email, is a modern means of communication. The system makes use of electronic methods of transmitting and receiving information. In this case, individuals through the internet open an email account in their name from any ISP, internet service provider. Then letter, messages, pictures or sounds can be sent through their computer to the email accounts of other individuals. Whenever the other person will access his email account, he receives the message. The information is communicated audio visually and the process is extremely fast. The method is gaining popularity with increased use of internet among the users. Voicemail. It is a computer based system for receiving and responding to incoming telephone calls. The individuals can also record their message through voicemail. The receivers at their own convenience can get the message from the machines and take action accordingly. You can get information regarding admission, examination and result of NIOS through an interactive voicemail system which has been installed at its headquarters at Noida. You can dial any of the two telephone numbers 0120-462-6909 or 0120-462-6910 to get information from the voicemail. Teleconferencing. Conference generally refers to meeting of people for consultation or discussion regarding any common issues. Teleconferencing is a system through which people interact with each other without physical sitting in front of others. People can hear the voice and see the picture of others and also respond to their queries even if sitting in different countries. It requires the use of modern electronic devices like telephone, computers, television, etc. For every teleconferencing, a central controlling unit is required that facilitates the entire process of communication. There are two different types of teleconferencing, one audio conferencing and the other is video conferencing. Let us know more about them. Audio conferencing. It is a two-way audio communication system in which the participants listen to the voice and respond immediately, sitting at different places. People may listen to the voice through radio or television and put their queries by using telephone. Video conferencing. Besides listening to the voice, the participants of the conference can also see the picture of each other while talking themselves. This is called video conference. There are two different types of video conferencing process, one-way video and two-way audio. In this system, the participants can listen to the voice and see the pictures of persons sitting in the audio. The audience maintains a contact with the studio through telephone and the persons in the studio listen to the voice of the participants. Second, both way audio and video. Here participants at both the ends, that is studio as well as audience, and are able to listen to the voice and see the picture of other while taking amongst themselves. Now, let us start some barriers to communication. Though communication is a pervasive activity, it is oftenly unsatisfactory in practice. The interchange of ideas and information is blocked by several barriers. The barriers to the effective communications are: first, badly expressed message. Often the message is expressed in poorly chosen words or empty phrases. There is lack of coherence, inadequate vocabulary and inappropriate language. Second is screening or filtering. Successive transmissions of the same message may be rendered less accurate because of its filtration. At each level, the message is screened by the receiver and only such information is passed further which gives a favorable impression of the sender. Third is inattention. Sometimes people fail to read bulletins, notices, minutes and reports. They do not listen the communication attentively. Subordinates may believe that the information is not important enough to communicate. Such errors or judgment make communication ineffective. Next is unclarified assumptions. When the assumptions underlying the message are not clarified, misunderstanding may arise between the sender and the receiver of the message. Next is resistance to change. Human beings by nature perform to avoid disturbance in their daily routine and generally resist new ideas. They want to maintain the status quo. Everybody likes to receive that information which confirms his present belief and tends to ignore anything that is contrary to such belief. When the communication involves a change that seriously affects employees, they may not take the message seriously. Changes affect the different people differently and one may take time to think through the full meaning of a message. Next is mutual distrust. Effective communication is impossible when there is a lack of confidence and mutual understanding between superior and subordinates. Considered judgment or illogical decisions may prompt subordinates to delay action. Next is status and position. Subordinate may not disclose the facts fully because of the fear of the consequences of such disclosure. They may deliberately mislead the superior or may hesitate to seek clarification due to the feeling that it will lower down the prestige. Superiors tend to keep maximum possible information with them to avoid listening to the subordinates. Next is complex organization structure. An organization structure involving several layers of supervision, use of staff, specialists and a long chain of command is a major barrier to effective communication. Communication may break down at various levels of supervision. Organizational distance between workers and top management inhibits a free and fast flow of information and ideas among the chain of command. Management must improve the organization structure to remove this barrier. So, dear learners, now you got a better idea about communication, its meaning, definition, what is oral communication, what is written communication and what are the barriers of communication. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.